Let's begin in the quiet. Before the step. Broadway and 42nd Street. These coordinates are a modern-day incantation. But every incantation has an origin story. And this one begins with dirt, horses, and a publisher's wild gamble. Close your eyes to the light. Open them to Longacre Square. A district of carriage makers, blacksmiths, livery stables. The air smelled of leather, manure, and forge fire. The wealthy lived up on Fifth Avenue. This was industry. It was pragmatic, grimy, real. The first heartbeat here was the clang of a hammer on a wheel rim, not the tap of a dancer's shoe. Enter Adolph Ochs, publisher of the New York Times. His paper was downtown, and he dreamed of a moving staircase to whisk readers uptown to a brand new headquarters. He didn't get his escalator. But in 1904, he got his tower, the second tallest in the city, and with relentless persuasion, he got the name, Times Square. A square named for a chronicler of moments. How fitting. Now, Ochs was a showman. For the 1904 New Year's opening, he threw a rooftop party with a fireworks display. 200,000 people crammed the streets below. But the city banned fireworks a few years later. So, what to do? The story goes that the Times chief electrician, Walter Palmer, was inspired by the time balls used by sailors in the harbor for navigation. A descending ball to mark the descent into a new year. In 1907, a 700-pound iron Anwood sphere, lit with 100 bulbs, made its first, wobbly 70-foot drop. That ball has changed 11 times. It's been iron, wood, aluminum, and now Waterford crystal and LEDs. It's grown from 700 pounds to nearly 12,000. But the magic remains the same, a shared, collective gasp, a moment of unity in the descent. Some of the old-timers who worked the boilers in the basements of these buildings swear that on New Year's Eve, just before midnight, you can feel a faint, phantom tremor, the ghost of that first, heavy iron ball beginning its fall. Let's walk north. But first, we must talk about the true architect of modern Times Square, light. That first electric sign in 1917, for Citizen Coffee, was a revelation. But the true spectaculars came in the 1920s. The Wrigley's sign with its giant chewing gum packs that blew giant bubbles. The steaming AMP coffee cup that released a visible vapor cloud of steam, in July. They were wonders. They turned advertising into public theater. Compare that to today. This sign isn't just a static image. It's a portal. It can show a live feed from across the globe, interact with your phone, track movement. It consumes enough electricity in a year to power 40 average American homes. We've moved from spectacle to interface. But the goal is the same, to captivate, to seduce. These red steps are the modern-day agora. The public living room. Before they were built in 2008, this was a chaotic, difficult space. Now, it's a place to sit, to meet, to simply be in the maelstrom. From here, you see the two lobes of the square, the southern, more commercial lobe we're in, and the northern, theatrical lobe ahead. You see the beautiful, organized chaos of the traffic, the bow-type design implemented in the 1990s to tame the snarl. It turned asphalt into pedestrian plaza. Watch the patterns. The tourists flowing in slow, meandering currents. The New Yorkers cutting through them like swift, determined fish. The costumed characters, Elmo, Spider-Man, the Statue of Liberty. Their uniforms a strange, fuzzy parallel to the Broadway costumes just inside these theaters. This is a human ecosystem as complex as any coral reef. Each person is on a quest, for a discount ticket, for the perfect photo, for a moment of feeling connected to the pulse of the world. Now we enter the sacred ground, the theater district. The Great White Way. The name came from the proliferation of electric marquees, yes, but the soul came from the immigrants. The Jewish composers, the Irish playwrights, the African American performers breaking barriers. In the 1920s, a single block might have a dozen shows running. But by the 1970s, the curtains were threadbare. Times Square was dangerous, defined by vice. The story goes that a famous producer, desperate to save his historic theater, made a midnight pact with a city official on the roof of this very building. "Bring me family feet," he said. "And I'll bring back the light." That pact, in a way, came true. The city's revitalization in the 1990s wasn't just about policing, it was about psychology. It was about convincing companies like Disney that this was where dreams should be sold. Their restoration of the New Amsterdam in 1997 was a signal flare. They scraped away decades of grime to reveal Art Nouveau nymphs and fairies on the ceiling. It was an exorcism by restoration. And presiding over it all, Father Francis Duffy. Why a statue of a war chaplain here? Because his battlefield was also here. From 1920 to 1932, he led Holy Cross Church, just behind us. He ministered to gangsters and chorus girls, to the destitute and the stars. He was a rock of empathy in a sea of exploitation. The legend among theater folk is that on opening nights, if you're feeling a particular cold dread, the flop sweat, you can walk by and touch the toe of his bronze boot for luck. We turn right onto 48th Street. The noise drops by half. The light changes. This is the backstage alley of the dream. For over 50 years, this was Music Row. Manny's Music. Sam Ash. Rudy's Music Stop. These shops weren't stores, they were clubhouses. In the 1960s, a young Jimi Hendrix allegedly bought a fuzz pedal here. In the 70s, John Lennon bought a guitar strap. The walls absorbed the riffs of legends and the fumbling scales of hopefuls. There's a story, perhaps apocryphal, but beloved, of a session guitarist in 1978 who left his favorite vintage guitar in a stand overnight. When he returned in the morning, he swore a new, perfect song was echoing from its wood, a song he'd been trying to find for years. He recorded it, and it became a hit. He said the instrument, steeped in the soul of the street, finally gave up its secret. Most of the iconic stores are gone now, priced out. But the essence remains. In the basement rehearsal spaces, in the roadies loading gear into stage doors. This is where the magic is made, not just displayed. And now, the final leg. 7th Avenue. The parade route. The march back into the light. This is the view that greets the New Year's Eve ball as it descends. This is the artery. Look at the architecture. The layers of history. That ornate terracotta facade from 1910, peeking out between a 1980s glass box and a 2000s media tower. Times Square doesn't erase its past, it swallows it, digests it, and uses it as foundation. There's a building on this block that, if you know where to look, still has the faded painted sign for a 1940s Thai shop on its side wall. It's a palimpsest, a manuscript written over, again and again. And the people. Look at their faces. Not just the awe, but the exhaustion. The street vendor who's been here for 30 years, who has seen it all and sells it all, from I Red Heart New York shirts to umbrellas on a rainy day. He's a philosopher king. Ask him how it's changed, and he'll tell you. The lights got smarter. The people got the same. They all want a piece of the big thing. We are approaching the end of our circle. We have walked from dirt to diaries. From a publisher's pride to a global icon. What is this place, really? It is not an organic neighborhood. It is a deliberate, engineered experience, a theme park of the self, as one critic called it. Its authenticity is debated endlessly. But its power is not. And so we return to the quiet. The quiet within the storm. Father Duffy's bronze eyes have seen the transition from his human parish to this digital one. He saw the soldiers go to war. He saw the Depression's breadlines. He saw the rise, the fall, and the reinvention. Times Square is a mirror. It reflects our obsessions, commerce, celebrity, technology, connection. It reflects our fears and our hopes. It is overwhelming by design, so that within it, you might find a moment of startling, personal clarity. A moment where, surrounded by millions of stories, you feel the weight and the possibility of your own. This is the crossroads of the world.